Let's get into the Technicolor with Zenacolor. I had heard nothing but good things about these pencils, so I was extremely excited to get my hands on them. I got to share with you, when the set first came in, it had a shake to it, or something just didn't feel right. The back of the paper, the plastic wrap had been shredded. When I opened it up, the pencils were in just a horrible order. They weren't in gradient order, they weren't in numerical order. So the first thing I did is I started to put them in an order, and that's when I discovered I had a couple of grays and a couple of blues and a couple of greens. So I was missing a handful of pencils because I had all these doubles. So I immediately wrote Zenacolor back, to which they responded right away, and they said, we want your experience to be great. I sent pictures, I sent my address. They said, you'll have another set by next Tuesday. So next Tuesday came and went, and I had nothing. Let another week go by, still had nothing. Finally contacted them, and they apologized. I re-gave them my address in case they got something wrong, and they said the set was sent out. And then a week went by, another week went by. I wrote them again. They said, well, it says it was delivered, but I have a doorbell camera. I had nothing ever being delivered. So finally, at that point, I just bought my own set. Then when my second set came, it just felt better, it looked better. I opened it up, and lo and behold, 2 of the 3 trays that come in the set were repeated. So again, I was out an entire tray of pencils. So I instantly wrote them again. I said, hey, here's some pictures. You gave me some doubles. This time I had somebody different, so I had to start all over again. They said they sent me something. Nothing ever showed up. I wrote them again. They finally sent something like 3 weeks later. So this is that third set, and this is a beautiful set. I bring that up. I don't want to, I'm not going to go as far at all to say it was bad customer service. I just think something must have been lost in translation. I'm not sure what. They were pretty quick. When I finally got a hold of them, they were pretty quick to respond back to me. Other than just me never getting them and buying it twice, they seem like a company that cares about their pencil. We jump on the inside. What we see is this is just a free coloring page, but at the end of the day, it's like a cereal box. It has this heavy high gloss on it, so you're really not going to be able to color anything. But there is a bottom where it says to go to a .com, which I haven't, but you can get a weekly free drawing. What I did find useful is this right here. By the time I was on my third set of pencils, I needed this checklist to go through, which I did. Everything was here. But man, look at these pencils. It's a beautiful set of pencils. As you can see, I have every color I need now. These colors are just so deep and beautiful. This is just a beautiful set of pencils. And what I like about this, I wouldn't drop this in a cheap set, and at the same time, I wouldn't drop it in a really expensive set. Now, there is a larger set, at least there used to be. This is the 72 set, which is at this point the largest set of Zenacolor you can get. Fingers crossed, one day they will release the larger set, but until then, this is what you can get. If we look at one of the pencils, the design itself, it's pretty basic. The barrel matches the lead. You have your Zenacolor, you have Flamingo, you have the name of the color, and then way back top you have the number. I love this setup because the number is the last to go. There's no other information on there. The back is open, so you can see how centered the lead is or is not. And in this case, the leads are really, really centered. The lead is really bold and very, very nice. I love the cut of this pencil. I started looking through because the last few cheaper sets, the wood comes all the way to the tip, or a lot of them come close to the tip. Almost every one of these is centered so nicely, it made these pencils fun to use. If we look at the colors, so here we have, again, anytime you're dealing with a set of 72, there's going to be things, it's going to leave you wanting for a lot of the categories. This one right here, what it left me wanting was the peaches. As if you notice, there's really nothing in the ways of peaches. There is a lot of greens, a lot of blues, a lot of browns, a lot of yellows. I would personally have sacrificed a couple of the yellows, maybe even a couple of the browns, just to give me a couple of peaches, because I personally use those a lot. But even though it's a smaller set of purple, they do have some nice purples. Unfortunately, a couple of the purples, being that there's only 4 of them, a couple of purples are very similar. And you can find that in almost each of these categories. A couple of the yellows, a couple of the oranges, reds, the maroons, they have a lot of similar colors for it being a 72 set. But what I want to talk about is the performance of these pencils. What I had read on them is that they, how well their attributes were. They went down smooth and they blended smoothly, they layered smoothly. I think I'd just been using so many cheap sets for a while because I shifted from my really high-end pencils to the really cheap pencils, and I kind of got used to those. And it's times like that it really shows the difference between quality versus, just a cheap throw-out set. These pencils, I believe, fall somewhere in between the two. They're not a real high end, but they are definitely not a cheap pencil. And you could feel that the moment you push it on the paper. They don't have a lot of the grit. Like, I think even in a really nice set, when you hit certain colors, you start feeling that grit. Like a lot of the reds and a lot of color has that pigment that's just not quite as smooth as some of the other colors. This, you'll experience that as well. But what you're also going to experience is that silk-like feeling when these do go down, and the colors are really, really vivid. I remember thinking, what picture do I want to draw to really show these off? And funny enough, I chose something with a lot of whites, and I absolutely love coloring things that are white because it does pop out a lot of those other colors. And this was a great example of how these colors can shine. Their reds are so deep and vivid, and the greens are really fun. And I was able to use like a lot of the pinks to really, highlight cheeks. And this was just a really, really fun set to use. I'm 100% going to come back to these just because it did have that old school fun feel to it. What makes these pencils so fun is I could see mixing these with something with a lot of deep, rich colors like a Neoni. And then I could also see turning around and mixing them with a Astra Pastello. So these just kind of fall right in the middle there, where though I want more colors, the colors it does provide me is a pretty great range. This is a really fun set to use, and if you are looking to enlarge your color pencil collection, you will hear no objections from me to add a nice set of Zenacolor to it.
Sugar Solito.